Let's make some noise. Come on.
Yes, indeed. No, sorry about that. Yes, indeed, Nick Foles. Let's make some noise, everybody. Welcome back. It's great to be back here on The Final Word on the It's a Rap Sports Network. Your boy, MattyB, on the call on my final word of the week. I will not be doing any more. This is it. Uno, dos. No more, no dos, just uno. As we're going to get our one show in for the week, my mandatory union show. I have to do it. It's good to be back on this Tuesday night, a little earlier than typical. I'm going at 9:30 in order to kind of get a little bit ahead of the Phillies game and the Titans final that will be on here in a little bit. God forbid, God willing, if it doesn't get too far out of hand in Chicago. Phillies trailing 3-1 right now. But so I'm back here tonight. In the midst of all this post-game, I mean, we are a post-game producing network right now. That's pretty much all of our hands are tied right now, as we have been blessed and cursed all at the same time. I've pride myself, and I've always prided myself on not being a bandwagon fan, right? We launched the Clear the Ice program 4 years ago on a different network, brought it over here onto this network as we started to build this. And up to this year, we never had the problem that we're having today. And that is just not enough people and too many post games to do. The Phillies and what they involve in the post game process with 162 games, it's a lot. It's a lot of shows. And the Flyers have given me the opportunity over the last 4 seasons to not have to run Flyers post games into April because of obvious reasons. But this year has sort of erased all that as the Flyers are on this, they return to the playoffs. Not only that, they're up to a 2-0 lead in the first round against the Penguins and making life tough for me. I mean, I ain't gonna lie, they're making life tough for me as I'm trying to juggle Flyers post games, Phillies post games. This show, which is supposed to be on 5 nights a week, which it's obviously not been on lately because of the manpower situation. So I'm only going to be able to get in this one night. This is it. And let's just hopefully we can enjoy it all together here tonight on the program. So Tale of Two Teams is really the theme of tonight's show. I really, it's such a polar opposite of what's happening right now when you're talking about the Flyers and the Phillies. And it's a weird thing to be involved in. Again, it's this whole, we clear the runway for the Phillies as we rightfully should. It's a long season. Baseball is a great sport. I'm in charge of the network. Baseball is kind of number one. We got to do what we got to do. But what we've been enduring for the past 23 games of the Phillies is sort of, I don't know. It's not early. It's not a typical early season situation with this team. And I know there's people out there, and there's a growing side of the fan base that are starting to sort of take up for Rob Thompson in all this by saying it's not his fault and he should not be fired over the Phillies start. But it's just hitting harder than a normal slow out the gates type situation. And it's funny because I think a lot of fans will agree to that. Not many fans are going to sit here and say, well, this is a typical start for this team. No, this just doesn't feel that way. It feels different. And what's happening with the Phillies obviously is an unknown. We don't know how this is going to work out. We don't know how far this is going to go before any changes are made. We don't know if the Phillies are going to pull themselves out of it tonight. Just, again, a snapshot. Jesus Luzardo, about 5 labored innings. But he kept the Cubs at bay. Got no offense. They were down 1-0. The Phillies tied it on a home run. I mean, that's all the offense they can generate. And I'm not. That's not right. Okay. So I'm very non-optimistic about the Phillies being able to pull themselves out of it without some sort of change being made. And I know that Rob Thompson is the lightning rod of that. And I know there's people out there that say it's not his fault. He's not ultimately the one that goes out there and goes 0 for 4 or commits the errors or makes the base running gaffe or gives up the big inning on the pitcher's mound. I get that. But Rob Thompson is in the chain of custody of that. Rob Thompson is responsible for how the team reacts to that. Rob Thompson is responsible for putting out this lineup on a night-for-night basis that just is not working. It's just not working, and there's no changes forthcoming that are worthy of saying, yes, you're trying to change something. Sliding Bryson Stott out of the 5 hole, thank God, down into the 7 hole, and calling that the change is not enough. Tonight, they got Felix Reyes batting cleanup. Justin Crawford's not in the lineup tonight. I mean, but God forbid we take Kyle Schwarber and put him in cleanup. These are the things that drive me crazy about giving Rob Thompson a pass in this whole thing. I just don't think he's doing everything he can do to try to fix it. And I know there's only so much he can do because it's the team, and he didn't assemble the team. And Dave Dombrowski is also going to be part of our conversation tonight, because why is Dave Dombrowski not receiving as much venom as Rob Thompson? I find that very interesting. I think they both share the same fate here. You know, Rob Thompson's the one that can't put the team in a position to win or can be competitive. Dave Dombrowski is the one who built the goddamn team in the first place. So we're going to talk Phillies, and we're also going to transfer, and we're going to talk about the other side of this great spectrum, and that is your Philadelphia Flyers, who are, you know, out of nowhere have pushed themselves into, literally from like irrelevancy. We just skipped right over relevancy, and we're into, Stanley Cup competition. And there's a lot of excitement floating around about the Flyers. There's a lot of buzz, a lot of energy. And on tomorrow night, when they come home for Game 3 and Game 4 on Saturday, I mean, this is what you pay the price of admission for. This is what you do when you follow a team like the Flyers over the last 4 seasons. This is the reward of that. And it's a great feeling. I did the post game last night, and I had the opportunity to talk about a shutout. I had an opportunity to talk about, again, doing all the right things and pushing all the right buttons on and off the ice that Rick Tocchet's been doing for this team for the past 7-8 weeks. And it's amazing. Where did it come from? How do we get here? How do we go from irrelevant, skip over relevant, to Stanley Cup competition? How do we get there? What happened? What was the magic formula? What was the secret sauce? What was the spell that got the Flyers from irrelevancy, over relevancy, to right to being competitive for a Stanley Cup? Because it typically doesn't happen like that. And now there's also a side of the fan base that I heard a little bit today talking about Stanley actually competing and making a run at the Cup. I'm sorry, guys. For those of you that believe that, never say never. I get that. And that's a great optimistic, positive view to have. But what the Flyers are doing to the Penguins, they're not going to be able to get away with against the Hurricanes. They're not going to be able to get away with against Tampa or Buffalo. Probably Ottawa. I think they can play that way against Ottawa. But I'm not saying they can't. I'm not going to sit here and tell you they're not going to make a run for the Cup. I'm going to tell you that I don't think they are, but will they get past this first round? It's looking like they will, but first round's not over. It's only 2-0. We still got a lot of meaningful hockey left to play in this series. So, but how did they get here? How did we find ourselves in this position with a team that's, let's face it, put together a little bit with spit and duct tape? I mean, there's a lot of great little role players, and then that's not a secret. We've talked about that for years, about what was being built here. Great bunch of complementary pieces, great bunch of role players. Just really didn't see anybody kind of separating themselves from that herd to step forward and be that guy, because you need that guy. You do. you need that guy. I know a lot of people are starting to get on the old Danny B bus here by saying, well, we don't maybe need that guy, and we can continue to go with the hot hand goaltender, and that's a big part of that. You could. We're going to go with the young rookie in Porter Martone. We're going to go with Owen Tippett and Tyson Forrester and Travis Konechny and Trevor Zegras and, so on and so forth. And they're all going to just sort of, instead of being that guy, they're all going to blend themselves into that guy. And we're going to find ourselves holding a Stanley Cup at the end of this. And again, I'm not saying that doesn't happen right now. They're in it. They're in the tournament. They're half the way through the first round, half the way to the second round. Weirder things have happened in the NHL. I said it last night. This team does starting to get that little St. Louis Blues feeling about them in 2019 when Jordan Bennington kind of put the team on his rookie shoulders and carried them all the way to a Stanley Cup, defying the odds every step of the way. I'm not saying the Flyers can't do stuff like that. And the way they're playing since the Olympic break, and especially since that West Coast trip, why not? But the question still remains is how did we get here? How did it all click just like that? And that's going to be on that conversation's on the table tonight. And as well as win, lose, or draw. Are you satisfied that this is the product, right? This is it. This is the Flyers going forth into next year and beyond. Or is there still more work to be done on this team? Do you still actually need a true number one centerman and a number one defenseman? Is Dan Vladar the answer long-term and goalie? These are questions. Some of them can be answered today. Some of them cannot, because we're not going to know what Dan Vladar and how he reacts to a season like this until next year, until he gets back in between the crease and has an opportunity to play like this again. We're not going to know the effects that this season has had on him. Was this a one-hit wonder, or is this the start of something new with him? And is he just a late bloomer? So we're not going to know that until time sort of takes by. But are you happy? Is this it? Is this the product? Or is there still more work to be done? So tale of two teams are on the table tonight. Yeah, what's going on, Joe? Yes, so Joe, what's up? And I am on early. I'm coming on a half hour early tonight. I'm trying to get ahead of the Titans final. That's going to be on as soon as this game, or as soon as I'm done and this game is over. Weird time right now out in Chicago. Everything's an hour ahead or hour behind. So I felt like I'd jump on and just sort of knock out the show in between the game and the Titans final. So that was my reasoning for coming on early tonight. And also, it's the only show that I'm going to do this week, so I might as well get my money's worth, right? Might as well get on here and do my money's worth. But tale of two teams is on the table. The other night segment is also on the table tonight in our day in Philadelphia sports history. No card again tonight. Just haven't had time really to kind of put that together over the past few weeks. We'll get back to that. And once all this stuff settles back down and we get back into our 5-day week groove, we'll get back to the cards. I promise. They're not going anywhere. Wheeler returns Saturday if we need him badly. Yeah, Wheeler's going to get the opportunity. I guess they made the announcement today that he's going to return into the rotation and get to start in Atlanta against the Braves. Not coming back on a positive note. I mean, he got roughed up in that final outing in Reading. But then again, he was pitching when it was like 38 degrees. So I'm not going to put too much on that. And this is going to be a little bit more of a this is, to me, and again, this is an interesting question where the whole problem with this Phillies team has gone. In a perfect world, Jose, I would have liked to have held Wheeler back. Honestly, would have. In a perfect world, I would have liked to have held Wheeler out until I really needed him. And unfortunately, as you said, we need him. And it's friggin' the end of April. And it's, it's pretty much game over out in Chicago. Phillies are now down 4-1. I mean, this is, I can't even watch this anymore. But you're right. We need him. And that's a great point. And that's a scary thing for me. I wasn't expecting to be on the we need Zach Wheeler train in late April. And as we talk Phillies tonight, one of the things that I want to know is what, again, we've all expressed our feelings on this network and on these shows. My show, all the post games, Mike's and Pat's show, or Mike's and Al's show. We've all expressed our opinions about firing Rob Thompson. But why? Hang on. Hang on before you jump all over me. What's happened? What has happened to this team? And why is it falling off of a cliff? Like so bad. Like, we came out of spring training. Now I get it. I'm not one that puts too much in stock what happens in spring. Half the spring they're taking pitches off of a kid who's in Double-A. The other half of spring they're taking pitches off a kid who's trying to, battle his way back into pro ball. Very rarely are you taking pitches off of a team's ace, and if you are, you're taking it off of. You're taking only a certain amount of pitches, that he's trying to work on. You're taking it. You're not getting his best, right? So I don't take too much from spring training ever, for good or for bad. But what has happened to this team? And can we pinpoint it? The pitching. I guess we'll start with Zach Wheeler. Tonight, Jesus Luzardo gave a very typical Phillies starting pitcher's outing tonight. 5 innings-ish, 4 and some change, whatever, 4.5. Over 80 pitches in 4.5 innings. Labored, got into trouble, fought his way out of it, got back into trouble, fought his way. Not very rarely is it a clean inning. And what I mean by a clean inning, like less than 10 or 10 pitches or less. We don't have those from our pitchers anymore. And we haven't had them all season. Why? What has happened? Christopher Sanchez is not pitching like a Cy Young candidate this season. Jesus Luzardo is not pitching like a man who just got a huge contract. Aaron Nola, actually, to be honest with you, and I hate to say this, based on what it was like last year for Nola, I'm not that upset about Nola. And I don't know how you take that, because last year was terrible. This year's not good, but it's better than last year. Taijuan Walker is whatever Taijuan Walker is. And I still think Taijuan Walker serves a purpose on this team. I do. I still think you can use him. And Andrew Painter is Andrew Painter. What has happened to the pitching? The bullpen came out like crazy and then is completely kind of cooled off. The offense is what the offense is. What has happened to the Phillies pitching? The Phillies pitching is what carried this team for the last 2 seasons, for those of you that are not aware of that. It really was. Now, Zach Wheeler was a big part of that. And not having him around for the last, I guess we're closing in on a season. It's been tough. We're closing in on a year. It's been tough. But we actually were able to run this patchwork pitching staff down the stretch last year into the playoffs. And pitching wasn't the problem in the playoffs. It was our hitting. But now we're not hitting, which is always a problem. Nothing new. But now we're not pitching either. And that's why you have an 8-14 team that's about to be 8-15 and about to lose 7 in a row. And what can you do about it? And again, we're going back to Rob Thompson. What has Rob Thompson done to try to fix it? So the Phillies conversation is probably going to be driven the most of it tonight. And all the other great things we talked about. So let's get things going tonight. Let's get it. Let's start this thing off as we always do with your day in Philadelphia sports history. So let's strap in, strap on, strap it up. Keep your head, hands, and feet inside the car at all times. And let's go. But before I do, let's remind everybody that here is what our schedule for the week on the It's a Wrap Sports Network. It's now 6-1, by the way. Another home run. Golly. I mean, it's not even, it's not even watchable, man. 6-1 Cubs. Who was that in there? Who's that been pitching this inning? Is that Mesa? He's giving up his second home run of the inning. It's now 6-1 Cubs. All right. This is what's happening on the It's a Wrap Sports Network this week. You got tonight. You have the Gridiron Weekly. You got me, and then the Fighting's Final. I'm gonna rename that show, by the way. Ain't nothing fighting going on, man, with this team. That's going to be coming on here in a little bit. tune in if you dare. Big Al's going to have you tonight. And I'm feeling good, man. Another night of no Fighting's final. I didn't have the final last night. I was off that. I had to clear the ice, which was great to talk about an exciting team. And I'm off tonight, so I'll be back on the Fighting's final tomorrow. But I needed the break, man. I desperately needed the break. On Wednesday, you're going to the Pittsburgh Sports Desk. And again, I'm back on the call for the Fighting's final. And Flyers Pens clear the ice. Mike Laro will have you. Then on Thursday night, starting around 8 o'clock-ish, our network and along with the Gridiron Weekly guys are going to present to you complete first-round coverage of the 2026 NFL Draft. Please stop on by as we're going to go through. The guys will take you pick by pick through the first round and see where the Eagles come out. And that's a conversation that I haven't really talked about the Eagles too much. I don't remember that ever being this case going into draft, down the stretch of draft week, just not talking about the Eagles at all. And I guess that's the influence of the Flyers. And on Friday night, we're going to have the Philly Friday Frenzy and the Fighting's Final combo show with Big Al. Saturday, you're going to have the best of the It's a Wrap Sports. Phillies Braves Fighting's Finals with Big Al. Al's coming back for double duty over the weekend. He's going to do Friday and Saturday. And some Clear the Ice Flyers Penguins. I have you on that call. And then on Sunday, it's Philly AM Sports and Fighting's Final Phillies Braves. So there's your lineup for the rest of this week. Again, as I said, 6-1 right now. Cubs are up against the Phillies. And as I said, man, thank God I'm not on that thing tonight. I needed a break. I needed a break last night. I need a break today. I'm dreading going back on there tomorrow, but yeah. I forgot for how long Durant's going to be out for. Well, he's on the 15-day, but they're saying that they're hoping that he's not going to be there for 15 days. It's a mild strain of the oblique. So hopefully he's, I don't know. Who cares? Do we really need a closer? I mean, is that what the problem is? we're minus our closer? Unless Durant can hit. Whatever, man. Take your time, Johan, whatever you say his name. Take your time. We don't need you now anyway, man. We haven't needed a closer in weeks. Oh, good God. I'm going to need a therapist if I keep watching this game. Yeah, it's really entering a realm of, like, this is going beyond a start of a season issue, right? It's going beyond that. There's something more to this than a slow start. It's not this bad. Slow starts are slow starts. You're lacking in one area. Your pitching hasn't come around yet, or your hitting hasn't. Very rarely is it your pitching, your hitting, and your defense are all failing at the same time. That's a systematic problem with the team. That's not a slow start. And we're going to try to hopefully maybe dissect a little bit about that tonight. This is an abusive relationship. We need to talk about a race. It's only the 7th inning. 6-1. And Armando Sosa. So, again, Justin Crawford out of the lineup tonight. I guess he's up to his mandatory third day off, right? It's 3 games and a day off. Is that what he's rolling? Crawford's out of the lineup tonight, and they got Felix Reyes batting 4th. I don't know. Thank God you're on it. Yeah. Yeah. No, thank God. Thank God you are not on it. No, I echo that sentiment. All right, let's get with your day in Philadelphia sports history. On this day in 1991, one of the more regrettable moves in team history, the Eagles traded the 91 and 92 first-round picks to Green Bay for the draft rights to offensive tackle Antone Davis. You guys remember him? I remember Antone Davis. I believe he wore 78. Who, after a 7-year NFL career, never lived up to the high price tag that the Eagles spent on him. Ironically, the Eagles lucked out a bit in losing their 92 selection. In a relatively weak first round, the Birds, who would have picked 5th, might have selected Troy Vincent, who went 7th in Miami before eventually earning 5 Pro Bowl appearances for the Birds anyway. I don't know why that's ironic. I would have much preferred Troy Vincent at 5, whatever. But Antone Davis today was the draft rights for him were traded to the Eagles. 91 and 92 first-round picks for that guy? Oof. Oof, oof, oof. That's pretty bad. So there you have it. Well, draft day in Philadelphia sports history as we get closer to this year's draft. And with that being said, good segue, I guess, we will have you covered on Thursday night, starting at around 8-ish. Make sure you put that notification bell on. Complete first round coverage of the NFL draft here on the It's a Wrap Sports Network, headed up by the Gridiron Weekly guys. They're going to take you through pick 1 through pick 32, whatever, as they'll get you through this year's first round. There'll be people popping in and out all night long. Some of your It's a Wrap Sports favorites will be seen. You may see me pop on for a segment or two. I don't know. We'll see. See how I feel. I may just take this night as a night off. I was going to produce that show, but they told me they didn't need me, so I'm feeling pretty good about that. So make sure you're here Thursday night for the It's a Wrap Sports complete first round coverage of the 2026 NFL Draft. Star Wars checks in with saying bad all fans. Bad all fans is right. It's just not even bad all fans. It's not an existent offense. The only run tonight so far that they've produced, hold on to your hats, it's going to freak you out, is by the home run. That's right, folks. Breaking news. The Phillies' only run tonight, by the way, they're keeping up with the trend of just scoring in one inning, as we are now in the top of the 8th with 2 outs. The only run has come on the home run. Again, stop the presses. I know I'm blowing your minds right now, but yeah, it's the only way we got to run off of Kyle. Who cares? Who cares? Kyle Schwarber's hitting home runs. I don't care. I don't care who it is. I don't care about the home runs. I don't care about any of it anymore, man. Tale of two teams, folks. Oh, by the way, let's shout out to the Sixers tonight, coming from the brink of nowhere and beating the Celtics. BJ Edgecombe dropping 30. I don't know if they're going to be able to rely on him to hit 30 every night, but I guess if he does that, then they're going to win the series. But a good bounce back win, and they actually got the split in Boston, and now they come back to Philly with an opportunity. There's a big rat running down the wall there, really, but good job to the Sixers. We can talk Sixers if you like. Again, it's going to be a one-way conversation because I don't care, nor do I I don't follow the Sixers at all anymore. But listen, a big win's a big win. A big win is a big win for the Sixers tonight. So congratulations to them. And guess what, folks? We got a 2-run shot by Bryce Harper. So we've now scored in multiple innings for the first time like 2 weeks. And stop me if you haven't heard this before. All the runs we've produced tonight have come off of the home run. This is where you can't get excited. Right? Obviously, you can get, they scored multiple times in the same game in multiple innings. Woohoo! That's great news. But look how they've scored off of the home run. It's unsustainable to win like that. And they're still down 6-3. It's good news and it's bad news all at the same time. They broke through and they've scored runs in multiple innings. But look how they've scored the runs. Long ball. There ain't nothing good about that. Nothing. Rat came out of the field and saw the offense and left. Harper hit a home run. Yeah, I know. I got eyes. I would have rather watched the Sixers as it has gotten that bad. Yeah, I mean, again, I think the Sixers kind of come out of nowhere and help people out, ease their pain a little bit. Big win. Big bounce back win after getting blown out by like 30 points. Big win for them. I guess, is this series now reset? We're going to get a bunch of bandwagon people hopping back on the truck for the Sixers? Uh-oh. Yeah, we got the out. And there's the 8th inning. Okay, so Phillies inch a little bit closer, 6-3. Let me get into this show because I'm running out of time. I'm not going to keep Al waiting tonight. I'm going to get off this show as soon as I can so he can get done with the Fighting Final. What has happened to the Phillies and who is responsible and how do you fix it? A growing number of fans have been sort of rallying to the cause of Rob Thompson. I heard a bunch of people today defending Rob Thompson, saying it's not his fault, that he's a great manager, that he's one of the best, if not the best managers the Phillies have had ever. And that even if you fired Rob, what exactly do you think the new manager, whoever that may be, is going to do? And what kind of answers are they going to find? Because a newsflash, and this is coming from somebody that I was listening to today, the newsflash is it's not Rob Thompson who's going 0 for 4. It's not Rob Thompson who's not scoring in multiple innings. It's not Rob Thompson who can't drive in a run with a runner in scoring position. It's not Rob Thompson who's committing the errors. It's not Rob Thompson who can't get out of the 4th inning or 5th inning as a starting pitcher. It's not Rob Thompson doing these things. He's prepared. He does his homework. He knows what he's doing. At the end of the day, it's the players that are the reason and the cause for this. And firing the manager will not provide what I think a lot of people are looking for. And the majority of the people who are on the fire Rob Thompson train are doing it because somebody must pay the price for this. Regardless of whether or not that person is actually going to be able to inflict the change once they're gone, or things are going to change once they're gone, it doesn't matter. He must pay the price for his insolence for causing all this. And I want to know, because I'm going to tell you, I've said this, and I've never been a Rob Thompson guy. I thought they should have canned his ass at the end of the 23 season against the Diamondbacks. I thought what he did in the NLCS was terrible. I thought the way he managed the team down the stretch of that series was criminal. Everything from the Knuble thing, going back-to-back with him, and then blowing an opportunity with 2 home games in front of you, and you only had to win 1, and not being able to find a way to break through and win that 1 game to get back to the World Series. So since the 2023 NLCS, I've been off Rob Thompson. And everything since then has just been an exercise in pain for me. And I was, again, listening to the people say, and they're making good points. It is not Rob Thompson who's on the field. It is not Rob Thompson that's, doing these things. But it is Rob Thompson who will not, for the love of God, do one thing with the batting lineup. The lineup is the managers. That's his job. That's his baby. It's the way life has been for managers since Babe Ruth was in knee-high, socks. The manager controls the lineup. So every night heading into the game, the manager has the first opportunity to directly influence the offense by placing certain players in certain positions in that batting lineup. And for the love of God, and one of these things that I must know the answer to when it ends, 30 for 30, a 60-minute special, something. Why is Kyle Schwarber never batting 4th? Or why is there such an aversion to Kyle Schwarber batting 4th? I need to know the real story. Is it Kyle? I think it's Kyle. I really do. At the end of the day, I think it's Schwarber. He doesn't want to bat 4th for some odd reason. I don't know why as a power hitter, you wouldn't want to be put in the part of the lineup that is going to offer you the more opportunity for RBIs, big moment home runs, the spotlight. That is it, man. Mike Schmidt batted 4th. Barry Bonds batted 4th. Manny Ramirez batted 4th. We could go down the list of these players, these great MLB Hall of Fame players who made a very healthy living in the 4 hole. Why does Kyle Schwarber not want to bat 4th? And why do I have to sit on a daily basis and watch a lineup that is ever changing in the middle, but 1, 2, and 3 never change? I had to deal with Alec Bohm batting 4th. I had to deal with Garcia batting 4th. Tonight I'm dealing with Felix Reyes batting 4th. I'm dealing with a rookie who played 1 game, sat for 2, and back in the lineup tonight batting 4th. Yet the other rookie, who's the future of this team in the outfield, has been playing off and on for the last 23 games, batting ninth, but you can't even talk about moving him out of the 9 hole because apparently the pressure's too much. So again, this is the confusion part, and this is where it rests solely on Rob Thompson. What the hell are you doing, man? Pick a hill and die on it. Pick a friggin' hill and die on it, man. Give us... Baseball is a sport of routine. It's a sport of, I want to go to bed at night knowing that I got to prepare in the morning to bat fourth, or I got to prepare to bat fifth, or I got to prepare to close, or I got to prepare to be the number 1 ace starter. I got to know these things. It's been like that since 1876 when the National League was incorporated into American sports society, and the 8 original franchises that the Phillies were not part of, by the way. The A's were, but not the Phillies. But it's been that way since 1876. As I've heard, I was not there. You know? But yet Kyle Schwarber avoids the 4 hole like I avoid spending time with my wife. Comes up with all kinds of reasons why he can't do it, but shouldn't focus on that energy on why he can do it. So the lineup is the manager's baby. That's his baby. And in this man's baby, I got to look at Alec Bohm batting fourth. I got to look at Garcia batting fourth. I got to watch Bryson Stott bat fifth. Bat fifth. That is the manager right there. 100% the manager. Now, as far as the performance of these players and how they do on a night-to-night basis, I get that. That's not Rob. But you know what? When Alec Bohm, who's going 1 for $1 million, entering tonight's action, and I think he got on, I saw a play earlier where another ground out, but there was a bad throw to first. I think I don't know if they gave the guy the error or if he got on base. He got on base tonight. But what is the accountability for a player that goes 1 for $1 million in your lineup? Apparently, in Justin Crawford's case, who's batting close to 300, the accountability is you're going to sit every third game because you're a rookie and you can't handle the pressure. But I'm going to put a rookie who's played 1 game in his Major League Baseball career as my 4-hole hitter. Yeah. There's that rat again. This is like watching an Eagles game back in the 90s when they're losing 48-0. And John Madden would start talking about people in the crowd. I'm watching a rat run around Wrigley Field. Well, I guess it's better than the baseball. But that is the manager. Okay? That is the manager. His employment of the lineup is him. So to those out there that are saying, you gotta, it's the players that go out there and the players who are not performing. You're right. But isn't the manager the one who holds the players accountable? The other night, what was it? The other night, the bloop single against the Braves. Who was it? Was it Austin Riley? It was Austin Riley. Just a bloop single falls right in front of Justin Crawford. Austin Riley shows up on second base. He gets a double out of that play. Okay, maybe they're holding Justin Crawford accountable tonight for that, but where was the accountability for Brandon Marsh with that boneheaded play where he got doubled off of first a few weeks ago? Where was the accountability on that play? Where's the accountability on Bryce Harper and his attempt to stretch out that single into a double a couple weeks ago? I get it. It's the players who perform, but it's also the manager who holds them accountable. And this guy hasn't done that. He hasn't done that, or he does it selectively, or he does it. I don't know how he does it because it's not across the board evenly. Oh, Jesus. I'm way behind here. Yeah, Big Al's in the house. Fire Rob, you leftist manager. You lifeless. you lifeless, not list. Lifeless manager. Cubs got an error today. Oh, so was that the play that Bohm got on the first base? We getting swept Yeah, we are. We are. I think they're coming back 0-7, honestly. The phone lines will open next week. They're not going to open up tonight. I'm going to be actually yes. I'm going to go until this thing ends. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, Sixers. Yeah. A big win for them tonight. A good win. Why is Reyes batting fourth? I don't know, Star Wars. That's what I'm asking. Why is Jose? Why is Felix Reyes batting fourth, but Justin Crawford can't come out the 9-hole? And I already told you why. Because putting Reyes fourth has no direct ramifications on moving Kyle Schwarber any lower than in the lineup. Whereas moving Crawford to the leadoff spot would absolutely have ramifications of moving Kyle Schwarber lower into the lineup. That is why. Thanks for the Sixers today. Yeah, I guess they saved the day. We could be the Mets. We are the Mets. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? We're about to lose 7 in a row. I mean, did the Mets lose? Is it up to 12? We are the Mets. Okay, so we've lost 7. They've lost 12, and we're about to lose 7. Guess what, Star Wars? We are the Mets. Well, yeah, come on, babe. I was using that as an analogy, a creative, creative lilt, build up a story, tell a story, adjectives, creative speaking. I didn't mean anything by that. By the way, it's my wife's birthday tomorrow. So everybody wish Nina Benarchek a happy birthday. Happy birthday, my love. She'll be 23. You only turned 23 once, I'm told. Scott Kingerly got the error. Oh, no, you're in trouble. Yeah, I am. I know. I do it because I know she can handle it. She knows I'm kidding. Happy birthday, Nina. Yes, 23 years old tomorrow. All right. So, okay, now it's 7-1. Oh. So, is it Rob Thompson's fault? Do you hold Rob Thompson accountable? Should you fire Rob Thompson? And if you do fire him, what are we getting? Are we getting a change? Is somebody going to come in here and actually do anything? And what can they do? And I've been thinking about this, and not that I'm softening on the opportunity to get rid of Rob Thompson. I'm not. I totally believe from a MattyB standpoint that any message other than what he's saying is going to be better, regardless of if it means wins or losses, right? Because right now, I don't know when they're going to win a game again. I honestly don't. This is bad. And I know Dombrowski spoke, by the way, the gall to speak to the media tonight in Chicago, saying, I'm not pondering a manager change at this particular moment in time. You take stock of your team about 40 some odd games into the season, not 23. This is a guy that seat should be as hot, if not hotter than Rob Thompson's. The owner needs to come out the damn Raptors and say, listen, Dave, sit your ass down. You don't have no room to talk right now because you're on the way out of here just like he is. So where is the venom for Rob Thompson? Or not Rob Thompson, for Dave Dombrowski, because if we do get a replacement manager, and again, I'm not saying that I would not be thrilled for that. I would be. But that manager is going to be more than likely Don Mattingly. That's why he was brought here. For those of you that don't know that or not keyed into that, go back to November, right after the Phillies season ended, or right after baseball ended, when the Phillies had their exit press conference and Dave Dombrowski spoke to the media. He said that they were creating this position, the on-field MLB coordinator, and they were going to put their current bench coach in that position, and they're going to be out looking for a new bench coach. And he said it right after he said bench coach. He said with major league managing experience. That's what he said. That's a must for the new bench coach. You know why? And I picked up on it. I was driving home from work. I picked up it on right away. Because when I had to fire Rob Thompson in season, I want to be able to put this guy in and just kind of roll with the season from there. Because right now, currently on my coaching staff, this was in November, I don't feel comfortable turning the team over to what we have as coaches right now. So that is why Don Mattingly is here. And I've been saying it was going to be Don Mattingly since day one, and it worked out. But if Don Mattingly is the replacement for Rob Thompson, and more than likely he will be, regardless of what he said about not wanting to manage anymore, they're going to talk him into managing just the season pretty easily. But if it's Mattingly, who's to say that Mattingly's voice is going to be different and it's going to be taken differently than Rob Thompson's? What was the reason that got Girardi fired? Because he couldn't communicate with today's player. He was having a problem communicating with Bryce Harper and Kyle Schwarber. Nobody liked them for whatever reason. So now we're going to take Don Mattingly, who basically is sort of Joe Girardi from that same cloth, and we're going to put him in the position to replace Rob Thompson, thinking that he's going to be able to communicate with Bryce Harper, Kyle Schwarber, JT Realmuto after 5 years of Rob Thompson. Again, I don't understand the logic there. I'm not saying it's a bad idea, because any voice would be better than the one we have now. But is that really going to change anything? Is Don Mattingly going to come in with a baseball bat, a la Billy Beane in Moneyball, and start going to town on a Gatorade cooler in the clubhouse and say, Kyle Schwarber, you're batting fourth. Nope, done. That's it. We're not talking about that no more. Bryce Harper, you're batting third. Turner, you're batting second. Crawford, you're leading off. I don't care where the rest of you bat. We'll try you out one day. One of you at 5, one of you at 6. We'll just mix and match till we figure that out. Does Don Mattingly have that type of balls, or does that type of approach work to try to fix this? Or are they going to rebel against Mattingly like a bunch of insolent children and say, oh, you thought it was bad with Thompson? Wait till you get a load of us now with Mattingly. I don't know if a manager is going to change anything. It'll get rid of Sleepy Rob, yes, and that's a positive. But is it going to save our season? Now, the other side is Dave Dombrowski should be fired immediately the second after they fire Rob Thompson. The second after they fire Rob Thompson. And Preston Mattingly, whatever, if you want to instill him as your acting GM/president pro temporary until the end of the year, whatever. I don't know if it's going. I don't know if you should, or if it's a good idea to have Preston Mattingly and Don Mattingly sort of like in charge of the Phillies, like the Mattingly family's in charge of the Phillies. I don't know. How that's going to be taken, right? But again. And even a firing of Dave Dombrowski, what is that going to do in season to fix this? So the tale of the Phillies is this. It's one of despair. It's one of desperation. It's one of I don't know the answers. And I don't know even who the players are to fix it. And when I mean by players, I mean the people that could come in and fix this. And I don't know if it can be fixed. Are they going to lose the next 140 games of the season and finish the year 8 and what 156? I don't know. Or 154? I don't think so. Right? Obviously they're not. But what really can be done with firing Rob Thompson and Dave Dombrowski in season? I get. Again, I'm on board with it, and I would be 100% supportive of it, but how is that going to fix the Phillies? Everyone goes to the 2022 Joe Girardi thing. All right, well, when they fired Girardi, Thompson came in, and it sparked this whole renewal of energy, and they got to where they had to go. Well, that's great, but they hated Joe Girardi. They like Rob Thompson. So I think it's gonna be a boomerang, and it's going to act completely to the opposite of that when they fire Rob Thompson. And they should fire Rob Thompson. Let me context all that by saying he should be fired. Now let's switch gears to the other tail of the other team, and that's your Philadelphia Flyers. On the road, man. 2 games. Alvarado needs to get on the juice again. He's now hurt. MattyB, do the Phillies have a starter tomorrow? Yes, it's what they call it, starter. Or no, opener. It's opener. He's a rookie out of the Carolina Leagues. He's going to make his MLB debut. No, I don't know who it is, and who cares? Walker will appear around the 3rd inning, I heard. Well, no, I think it's a wait and see if they can get as much as they. I would imagine. Who's not pitched tonight? Who have you not seen out there? Meza pitched. Kirkering pitched. Alvarado pitched. The Banks pitched tonight. I don't know. Shugart. Who am I missing there? You guys do the process of elimination. We can figure that out. Might be seeing Dylan Moore here soon. He got injured. Yeah, who cares? Last inning. All right. The other team, the Flyers, 2 games to none, sparking a rejuvenation of hockey in the city of Philadelphia that has not been seen in a long time. People got the Flyers making Stanley Cup runs. I mean, they got the Flyers going to the finals against, who have I heard their opponent's going to be? Oh, Colorado. Flyers and the Avalanche in the finals. And I'm not here to tell you that can't happen. The St. Louis Blues in 2019 defied the odds with a no-name rookie goaltender and a bunch of role players. I mean, Ryan Riley he's pretty good, and so was Shen. But, for the most part, a bunch of role players. And they ran a hot goalie and just everything was working well for them. And they just defied the odds all throughout the Western Conference playoffs. Matter of fact, that season at Christmas, the 2018-2019 season, the St. Louis Blues had the worst record in the National Hockey League. Do you know who the team was with the second worst record in the National Hockey League? Yeah, it was the Flyers. But the Blues had an amazing second half run and did not barely get into the playoffs. They got in as I think a 4 seed and made a run to the Cup. So can the Flyers do that this year? They most certainly can. But I can't even think about that, because in hockey, when it comes to a 7-game series, the thing, and I know we've forgotten what a 7-game series is like for hockey here. We have, and I'm not saying that's bad because we haven't had it for so long, but there's a bunch of hills and a bunch of valleys you're going to go through a playoff series, more so than you do in any other playoff series in any other sport. The momentum and being hot, that reigns supreme in hockey. And the Flyers have right now that momentum. Will they carry that momentum beyond Pittsburgh, or will they carry it beyond game 2? I don't know. But there are certain things about this team that are still, honestly, not helping their cause, and that is their special teams. 0-7 now on the power play in the playoffs. 0-7. Or 0-4-7, sorry. You're going to have to score play. And again, I'm asking them to do something they haven't been able to do in 5 years. I know that. But you got to be able to put the puck in the net on the power play in the playoffs. Because you're going to get beyond Pittsburgh if you do, and then you're going to come up against the winner of Ottawa and Carolina. God help you if it's Carolina. They would match up better with Ottawa, even though I don't want nothing to do with a Kachuk. But still, they would match up better with Ottawa than they would Carolina. And that would be doing us a favor getting rid of the Hurricanes from this playoff mix. So, obviously, Ottawa's the team you want to push for in the other bracket for the Flyers to have to potentially face in round 2. But they're going to have to figure out how to put power play goals in the net. Buffalo, Tampa, just to name 2 of the other teams in the other bracket, they can score on the power play. So can Ottawa. The Flyers got to end their 5-year mystery problem with their power play over the course of the next month if they really want to make a run for the Cup. I understand everyone's excited. Everyone wants to be jumping on the train, and you know what? We're going to win a Cup. We have We've steamrolled past the old River Penguins. Yes, we have, and we are, and we should. They're a younger, faster, hungrier team than the Penguins are right now. Stuart Skinner is standing on his head right now trying to keep the Penguins alive in this series. But how long or how much longer can you keep Crosby down? How much longer can you keep Malkin down? You know what I mean? And you got to find a way to put pucks in the net as much as you possibly can in the course of one game against anybody in the playoffs. And the power play is a great way to do that. And it just ain't working. And it hasn't worked for 5 years. So if you want to seriously make a cup run, you got to learn how to put the puck in the net on the power play. Now, as far as the penalty kill, it's been a remarkably better. A team that finished under 80% for the season has killed off all 7 of their shorthanded spots all season or all playoffs, and potted a shorthanded goal in the process. So that's working well. But we got to start putting the puck in the net. Now, Dan Vladar is the X factor in all this. Honestly, Dan Vladar is the X factor. If he can continue to be hot, there's no telling how far the Flyers can go. There really isn't. But the minute Dan breaks down, I don't know. Let me see. What are we looking at here? Good God, man. The penalty kill for the Flyers. Yeah, they were 7 for 7, and they scored a shorthanded goal. 2 Cubs errors. Can the Phillies do something with this? Yes, it is 7-3. Oh, no, 7-4. Top of the 9th. Runners on first and second, 1 out, and the Cubs are going to the bullpen. Could this be it? Could the Bryce Harper over-the-shoulder catch in foul territory in this game be the turning point of the season? 2 errors on the Cubs. I heard the Flyers were going to play the winner. You heard wrong. Look at the bracket officially listed by the NHL.com. The Flyers are in the Ottawa and the Carolina bracket. That's where they are in. Take a look at NHL.com playoff bracket. Another run. Here we go. Alvarado has mild back spasms. We can lift in the 9th. We have lift in the 9th. I love you, Star Wars. Dan Vladar is the secret to this. And you know what? As we get ready for game 3, I said this last night in the post game. These are one of those moments that I really wish I could be at the arena tomorrow. Even if I wasn't 300 miles away from the city at this particular moment in time. I have a baseball game tomorrow night, so I can't be there. And it's my wife's birthday. I don't think she would want me to run off the game 3 of the Eastern Conference semi or quarterfinals. Actually, she probably want to go. But if you have the ability to get into the city tomorrow, to the sports complex, South Philadelphia, Broad and Patterson, you get what I'm saying. If you can get there, I highly recommend you go, even if you don't have tickets. I'm sure you can find something to do, while you hang around waiting for the game to start, and then just go into Xfinity and watch the game with the hundreds of thousands of fans that will be there because they couldn't get into the arena. So this is one of those moments tomorrow, I think, honestly. I know it's not a clinching moment, and it could be a real downer if they lose, but I still think this is one of those moments that you want to be there for, because it's the first home playoff game since Moses was a private, right? I mean, it's been that long. And to be in person or in the area, again, not necessarily inside the building, it's just going to be fun experience. Get your Flyers jersey, find it at the back end of your closet, and I'm sure most of you have already fished it out, and just go down there and celebrate and be part of what's happening. And, there is something special happening here, and it may not be necessarily something special for this season, but it could be something special for the very near future. So, tale of two teams, man. One team headed in one way, and the Flyers are headed in the other. And now we have 2 outs, so we're getting to the end of this. I I don't like how Game 4 is this weekend. Well, basically tomorrow's Game 3, then 2 days off of Game 4. Well, this is all about the TV market. You're right, Joe. I think it's kind of weird. You have to have tickets for Infinity Live for the Flyers watch party. When they get tickets for that, or sneak in, man. What are you afraid of? I snuck into Xfinity all the time. I didn't have tickets. I didn't need tickets to watch the NFC Championship game there. Find something to do down there. Go to Chickies and Pete's in South Philly. You got my point, right? Go down there and just let the adventure take you through your Wednesday. And I guarantee you'll find a spot to watch the game. All right, listen, let's get into that point. Phillies are rallying here. Second and third with 2 outs. And, that's going to end it. So Trey Turner just popped up. Phillies are going to lose here, folks. 7-4. A vaunted comeback was going to fall short. And that's going to trigger me as well. Listen, I want to thank everybody for joining in. A abbreviated, tried to kind of walk in between the raindrops a little bit tonight with the Fightins final. I think we got the point across. The Phillies. What the hell do you do with this? 7 in a row now have been 7 in a row now lost. Showed a little bit of life tonight offensively. Not enough. What are you doing with the Phillies? And how can you fix it? And is a new manager really the voice that you need? Is the Fightins final every day, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday? Friday's going to be a twofer with Big Al on the Philly Friday Frenzy. Then Al will have you on the Fightins final Saturday, and I will have you on Sunday. So you get a double dose of Al. Actually, a triple dose because you got him coming up next. How do you fix the Phillies? And how much can we run the Flyers? All great questions that we're going to have to find out the answers to, unfortunately, in time. Thank you very much for tuning in to the final word tonight. Unfortunately, I can't even tell you when I'll be back. I don't know when the next Fightins final word will be. Too much show titles. I don't know when I'm going to be back for this show. We're going to have to wait and see how the Flyers thing works out. It'll be some point next week, and it'll probably be a show. So just be on the lookout for it. I'll drop it on the social media when I find out. But thank you for being part of our solo adventure this week. I want to thank everyone that contributed and watched along with me. Stay tuned for the Fightins final. Big Al will have you as he will break down this game and give you more to chew on than I did, hopefully, or maybe less. We'll talk again real soon. I'll be back tomorrow night on the Fightins final, so you'll be seeing me again tomorrow. Don't forget, big night tomorrow, Fightins final and Clear the Ice and the Pittsburgh Sports Desk. All that happening here on the network. Till we talk again later, guys. You enjoy the rest of your night. Stay tuned for Big Al and the Fightins final.